And how are we all doing this morning?
I'm fantastic.
Good. Awesome. I am fantastic myself.
Someone sit down.
So,
Raymond, sit down.
no.
You people are having too much fun here in the studio this morning. Let's go straight to the front pages, guys.
Now, the Herald is reporting this morning, NLA takes lead in renewable energy with e-kiosks. There's one about National Security Minister holding men's gold boss in Dubai despite yesterday's legal victory. Rawlings rejects naming UDS after him. Now, Adai Mensah and Jampo, that's Professor Adai Mensah and Professor Jampo, and others are angry at government over attempts to stifle state universities.
The Rolling story is also on the front page of the Independent newspaper. This rejection, according to the Independence newspaper, is inconsistent with Rawlings' long-standing principles of not having state facilities named after him. But also on the front page of the Independent, MTN to invest $160 million in its operations in 2019.
The Finder is reporting this morning 200,000 houses, 100,000 for teachers and students. It will create 3,000 new jobs, and that's in the offing. There's one about vigilantism. It's inimical to Ghana. NPP and NDC agree on that. But KMA executes 133 projects, and that's what's been outlined on the front page of the Finder. Now, before I move to you, stop politicians from sponsoring students' elections. One Ghana movement is saying so. Who sponsored your election?
Who sponsored your election?
Me. No elected position before. No. I've always been appointed.
I know. So the person you supported, who gave you the appointment?
I am not.
Who sponsored him?
Oh no, we sponsored him. We the people of this republic.
He's struggling to.
Malik, go to your paper.
The Daily Statesman newspaper. MPP and NDC must make the vigilante talks work. That's the chairman of the Peace Council. Gridco under attack again. Security chief threatens to shoot saboteurs on site. MPs agree $100 million facility for military housing. Chinese-backed facility to build world-class homes for troops.
Now, that particular story on shoot to kill at Grico is on the front page of the Chronicle too. But the other stories that are also being reported here are Rattray Park contractor threatens to deface facility over 469,600 outstanding debts. So he says, if you don't pay me, I'll be scratching the place clearly. I'll undo what I did. And I was supposed to lift the image of that particular facility.
That is a beautiful facility. Why is it unable to pay for itself? I have the Crusading Guide, the New Crusading Guide newspaper. NDC MPP agreed to boot out vigilante groups, but sing discordant tunes on where focus should lie. Also on the front page of the New Crusading Guide newspaper, stop interfering with CEOs as Osafo we did this in the course of the week. Ahead of single window takeoff in August, Korean envoy rallies support for Unipass and peace returns to Frafraha as High Court rules against self-styled businessman.
Now, the Ghanaian Times is reporting this morning, police arrest 50 illegal postal services, courier services operating in Accra alone. And that story about a couple and 3 others being jailed 70 years is also on the front page of the Ghanaian Times. The tie-in, the Ghana Gas completion of its tie-in, ensuring that what we're told as doom so has effectively ended. It's also on the front page of the Ghanaian Times.
The Today newspaper, SEPS recruit dies, 5 others hospitalized from harsh training. That's according to the newspaper. Cash and carry to resurface in Upper East. Those are the stories there. MPP NDC story is also on the front page of the Today newspaper.
The Daily Guide has those stories. It also has a story on the new twist in the NCA trial. And the last one that you should be interested in is Namwan freed, ready to pay customers. And that's on the front page of the Daily Guide too.
The Daily Graphic newspaper has stakeholders kick against public universities bill. Ministry says reactions are premature. The Ghana Gas story is here. The MPP NDC finally meeting is also here. There's a beautiful photograph of Same Wuku, Ofuso Ampofu, national chairman of NDC, and chairman of the MPP on the front page of the Daily Graphic. Beautiful photo.
You know what? Let's start with that story, Raymond.
Yes. Yesterday the Ghana Peace Council actually held a preliminary meeting to set out the ground rules for engagement. In fact, what they had done was that they had written the rules. They wanted the parties to go through and agree that that's how we are going to operate. Now, we don't have all the details of what the rules were in that particular engagement, but there's something that's pretty clear, according to the Daily Guide, that the media will not be allowed during the session. So we're not going to have a live broadcast or live telecast of this particular engagement. At least that's what we are told. But at the end of the day, they will circulate the main agreements that have been reached at this particular engagement with the rest of us in this country. Of course, they are also in the mode of making sure that all the parties are on the same page when it comes to what's going to happen on each day, so that they can finally find some roadmap to deal with this matter. Why is this important? The President of the Republic of Ghana, after the Ayawaso West Wuogon incident, outlined the fact that he is willing to deal with the problem of vigilantism and asked the political party, starting with his own party, to reach out to the NDC to find a way of sitting and talking about the matter. Now, there was back and forth. The NDC said without others' involvement, including the media and the Peace Council, it was never going to go anywhere, and merely meeting will not end in any good. That was the first proposal from the NDC. The presidency responded, then it became back and forth until the presidency deferred that they should deal with the NDC and the other people involved. So the MPP and the NDC agreed that, okay, mediator is not a bad idea. That's when the National Peace Council became part of this particular process. Now, it was interesting that yesterday at the pre-engagement meetings, we had the Archbishop being there, and Archbishop Duncan Williams actually chaired that particular first engagement. Of course, I'm sure that both political parties and all well-meaning Ghanaians respect his status and engagement. Yes.
So the chair was done by Nana
Papa himself.
Yes, the Papa was there, but on Newsnight we reported it was Nana SKB Asante who chaired the meeting.
No, that was, see, what happened was two things. When they were introducing the people,
okay,
that this is what he was there, he actually did that. But the real engagement on the, how do you call it, the processes,
okay,
yes, is what we understand is the
Apostle Professor Opoko Onyina was also there.
Yes, of course. I mean,
past chairman of the Church of Pentecost.
Of course.
And he has to slip down.
Yes,
he has to slip down.
But I'm just educating the public on what was.
And then it is instructive to note that if there is any institution at all that has actually launched campaign, followed, and keenly ensured that this came to where it has been today, then you know it is our campaign. It's our
hashtag disband party militias now. That particular campaign has consistently, we counted down the number of days that the NPP wrote to the NDC, which put a lot of fire on them to make sure that the right thing was done. Hopefully, after all of this, the matter of vigilante will be over. The matter of militia in this republic will be finally over. But the presidency is still not going to wait on them. The president says, you go ahead with the engagement after the law will come into being. Because you can't always trust politicians to do what is right. Even though they waited some 50 days after the president's
very much
directive
so. From February.
Yes, when the president said that preferably next week, they had to wait 50 days. But we are glad, especially Malik, since we have some 24 active vigilante groups in the country, or militia groups, if I can use that expression. Dr. Kwetinin made this known when he faced the Ayawaso West Wuogon Commission himself. Very revealing statements made yesterday on Newsnight by lawyer Kakri Esamwa, who was the NDC's representative at the meeting. He said that, look, these guys, they act as land guards. They are vigilantes in a number of other aspects in the country, not just when it comes to politicians. And sometimes it's the same group of people who are hired by the NDC.
They are protectors of chiefs.
Yes, and they are hired by the NDC, and later they are hired by the MPP as well. So it's not as if these guys, he sort of described them without using that expression as mercenaries. They are there for hire. So it maybe we need to take it out of politics and begin to look at basically how this menace would go down. But Malik, another major issue we've been discussing.
Yeah, so this matter has dominated the discussions the whole of this week, and this is the draft bill on public universities and the provisions therein. You know that they've been growing opposition to the bill. I think the opposition was led by Professor Yao Jampo, who started serializing his opposition on Facebook, that then moved on to mainstream media. We know that there was a letter issued by Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, former deputy education minister
in charge of tertiary
information before education.
Yes.
Yeah, so he also issued a letter talking about the bill and how backward it is. One notable person who is opposing this bill is a former vice chancellor of the University of Ghana, Professor Ivan Adai-Mensah.
Yes.
And he says that this bill, and I'm quoting him, the bill and its proposals are backward and will take universities back to the late 60s. He says, I think the bill is very dangerous and totally unnecessary. The Constitution of Ghana seeks to protect tertiary education from government interference. if the bill says the president can appoint the counselor, the chancellor, it means he can disappoint the chancellor. In all, the president can appoint about 5 council members, and that is dangerous. Why is he saying the president's ability to appoint 5 council members is dangerous? He said the bill has stated that 5 council members can sit together and take a decision, and that decision will be binding in the university. He says this means that the 5 appointed by the president can sit and decide to overthrow the vice chancellor. That can happen. As a former vice chancellor and educationist, I just don't understand what this whole bill is about. This is Professor Ivan Adai-Mensah joining the chorus against the public universities draft bill, which has been submitted to the public universities for their input. And it appears there appears to be a certain unanimity that this is an unnecessary bill. Of course, the Education Ministry, and we spoke to our friend Asifa here on this show, who insists that some of these reactions are premature and that there's basis for this draft bill. He told us on the show that they had consulted other countries,
predominantly Kenya for the record.
But he did not say that these countries are practicing this system.
Absolutely no, he didn't. He just said that they consulted widely.
Countries with credibility when it comes to what they call it, democratic credentials, like Kenya.
I can hear the
countries
cynicism
whose credibility trumps Ghana when it comes to democratic credentials.
I can hear the
like
cynicism dropping from. Hey,
oh no, I'm stating facts. I'm just stating facts.
It's okay. It's okay. Kenya.
The point is that Asifa maintains that these the matters contained in this draft bill are up for discussion. The universities are expected, the public universities are expected to make their inputs into them before it will be submitted for Parliament for debate, and subsequently, if amendments need to be made, those amendments may be made.
Raymond, you'll be very interested in what Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, who is Vincent Assafu's boss, has had to say about this. He says, I'm reading his quote, and I think we should bring this to you specifically. This draft bill is the first in this country to try and define what we mean by academic freedom, using examples of how other nations have developed it. If it has to be improved, we are hoping for that. But government will not and must not and does not intend in any way to stifle academic freedom. Government will not, must not, and does not intend in any way to stifle academic freedom. He says that they have been using examples of how other nations have developed academic freedom.
Yeah. Like Kenya, I want to believe.
We will bring you that sound of Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh shortly. But in that bill, Raymond, there's also the issue of renaming universities.
Yeah, so we had a George Pargrant one. We also had the Komla Agbeli Bedema one. We also have the
Kofi Abrefa-Buzia.
Brilliant. There's also the Opoku...
Nana Opoku Ampoma, which has already been renamed.
Yes, but there's one suggestion for the University for Development Studies to be named after former President Jerry John Rawlings.
Junior Jesus.
Yes.
Papa
in fact, former President...
the boom. But he himself is the boom.
But the former president's been reacting to this. He's not excited by the fact that he has actually written to the Ministry of Education and told them clearly that whilst he believes that the president's decision or government decision to actually name it after him might be a wonderful one, he has a long-standing principle that no national monument or installation should be named after his person. And that he believes that this principle applies in this particular case too. And that's why he has to humbly reject it. In fact, his statement has some very interesting part. In fact, it says he was thanking the president and all those in diverse ways who are keen on recognizing his contribution to the development of education in the country. But he's not going to be able to do so, mindful of what has happened within the space. Now, it brings you to sharp focus. If the man had said, no, don't put my name on it, I don't want my name on it, why does the draft bill has his name on it? Or at some point in time, we're expecting that it will be removed. In any case, then that means that we've not taken a decision on who to replace him, even though the man has stated clearly that I don't want to be the one on it.
But you see, to be fair to the Ministry of Education, they have said that they are seeking consultation on this bill. So Mr. Jerry John Rawlings has, or Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings has also given his commentary, like other former vice chancellors have.
You consulted the man in 2017. He says, I'm not interested.
Then in 2019, you produce a bill
on a bill which is
no. Malik, having to give a gift to a friend and the person says, oh, I don't want it. He say, oh, allow me to bless you. I mean, it's happening. happens in the world.
This is state
so
business.
It's fine. Let us see
this is
what
state business.
Let us see what government's final decision.
In 2008, thereabouts, this same Rawlings was being awarded by this same UDS. What happened? That process was truncated. It was frustrated.
They gave some excuse. I've forgotten the excuse again. It was very weird. Let's deal with Ghana Gas.
Yes, some good news coming from Ghana Gas.
Yes. So Ghana Gas says it has completed its tie-in of the 11-kilometer gas pipeline from Atuabo to the power enclave at the WAPCO cables at Abuazi.
Atuabo.
Yes,
okay,
from
Atuabo to Abuazi. So the tie-in has been done as Abuazi.
They've completed the tie-in, and this completion was done ahead of schedule. They said they were going to do this in 12 days. They've been able to do this in less than that. This is expected to bring gas from the Atuabo area to Abuazi and also to the eastern part, which is in Tema. And it is expected that they will be able to produce 110 million standard cubic feet of gas after this has been done, and this can help in the production of 60 megawatts of power that will augment our power supply. And it is anticipated that the doomsarization that we have been subjected to in recent weeks will be managed properly. So that's some good news.
Some good news. And let me say that they did this 2 days ahead of schedule. We were told by Nana Damo on this platform that they will finish it on the 12th of April. Today is the 10th of April. So, Nipaya Adia Osayeyi, good morning. And what this means, according to the commentary we've had, is that we should not be having power outages.
Yeah, because we can move 110 million standard cubic feet of gas. That's a lot of gas to the east to power many of the plants in this area that some of.
But of course, if the plants
to get gas from Nigeria.
Great, but if the plants were running on heavy fuel oil and light crude oil earlier, it would mean that it would take them a while to switch over from HFO and LCO to natural gas. So we may need to get those details. But the effect of this, I expect that in the next 2 or 3 days we should see a normalization.
Yeah, because 16 megawatts of power, it's a lot. And can save a lot.
But it wouldn't necessarily mean that you should not be having any power outages at all. As we have explained consistently, a lot of things can cause power outages.
Of course.
I mean, those are the intermittent, unplanned outages.
And do you remember that when we had Mr. Ben Boachi and Parkwesi Ananwasechi here, they told us, and we learned from them, that we need a reserve of about 390 megawatts ahead of our peak demand before we are comfortable. But anyway, guys, let's move on.
We're still in power, right?
Yes, we're still in power, Doomso.
Yes, but now let's get it clear. Greco is complaining about why some of their installations are being dealt with in ways that have been, unfair to the institution. Why? Because they said there are some saboteurs. You do recall that some weeks ago, the minister was very clear in his mind that some people are deliberately bringing down pylons of the Greco, making transmission problematic, cutting the connections to some parts of the country, and virtually sabotaging government efforts to keep the lights on. That's what the minister said. Now, just a couple of days ago, Greco, for the timely intervention of the military section there, would have had a huge line being set on fire. And this one, as they explained, could have actually sent the entire township within the Greco enclave on fire. Because those pipes, they connect other pipes.
It's a vast network of pipes.
Yes, and again, it connects to places like Tema and other places.
Yeah.
Which was going to be very difficult to deal with because of the kind of pipes you are dealing with in this case. So they were extremely worried, and thankfully there were no fuel or so in the pipe in this
at the time
that the people set fire on them.
Why?
They didn't explain that, but the main thing they said was that
the place is still under construction. They haven't completed work yet.
So they said that there's water running through.
Very good. Their main complaint is that now they are left with very little option than to treat these people like ordinary people who want to steal from them. They are going to treat them like saboteurs who ought to be dealt with. They are no longer going to be looking for them, chasing them around and arresting them. The final option they have available to them as military men guarding such an institution is to shoot to kill anybody who want to endanger not only lives but the comfort of many in this country.
The security of the country.
Yes, so that is the main claim they're making in this particular case. Perhaps the people who have been doing this will also take a cue from that this is your last warning. You may no longer have the lassity of running around and still be doing the things that you're doing. But it beats my understanding why we all complain about sleeping in darkness and suffering from the heat thereof. And some people still find it very convenient.
Maybe they don't know. Maybe they don't know. They can't make the connection between the pipes running there and the lights in their homes.
I would understand if they said, I mean, that's even not justifiable, but I would understand if they said that I want to cut off some small cable to go and sell to get money. But this one, you are certified on something that you're not taking anything from.
Yeah, so the security services need to be up and doing in there. But then again, we also have a security expert who has educated us that if they are acting on authority of GridCo, they are not mandated to shoot to kill. So when they are acting on authority of GridCo,
but GridCo, they don't bear arms.
Yes,
so they can't even shoot.
Yes. Anyway, let's move on, Malik, and come back to cash and carry.
Yes, so private healthcare providers in the Upper East region say that if the National Health Insurance Authority does not pay them their outstanding claims, which is in arrears about 1 year now, they will be forced to gradually withdraw healthcare services to some parts in that region. And the chairman of these private healthcare providers in this part of the country, Dr. Francis Asana, is the one talking, and he says that many of the institutions there are providing healthcare in particular areas. They said if they were to withdraw their services, about 5 districts in this area will suffer. And these districts, he listed them as Binduri, Pusiga, Timpani, Garu, and another one. He said all these facilities do not have government healthcare facilities there. So private persons have set up healthcare facilities providing healthcare, and yet these private healthcare facilities are unable to pay. Some of them have been unable to pay their workers for 4 months because of indebtedness of the NHI.
Okay.
So they pray that the NHI will pay them their claims so that they can continue to provide healthcare services to the people in this area.
You see what we asked when we found that the University of the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital has a 6.17 million Ghana cedis owed it by the NHI. That what is happening elsewhere in the country, and this is what is happening in.
You do recall that the University of Ghana Hospital had to take a bold decision that please, we want to be exempted from the use of NHIS because we couldn't run our institutions without it.
So the NHIS still has some more answers to give us. Let's go to the online news review. It's brought to you by Zenith Bank in your best interest and Goil Good Energy. Now make your day productive by relying on quality fuel from Goil, your 3-time CIMG Petroleum Company of the Year. Goil Super XP and Diesel XP are additivated to enhance strong engine performance and prolong the lifespan of your vehicle. Above all, you are guaranteed extra quality with our fuel analyzer from our mobile laboratory van. Get your money's worth every day by buying fuel and lubricants from any of Goil's over 360 service stations nationwide and experience good energy. Buy Goil, grow Ghana. Goil Good Energy, Goil Yenara Yedia. Now go light with Zenith Bank. Be that person who makes payments anytime and anywhere without the need to carry cash, or that person who lives light because you use the Zenith mobile app to pay bills, top up airtime, effect instant transfers, top up investments, and so much more. Avoid delays and keep afloat with the simple things in life. Simply sign up for Zenith Bank's electronic banking solutions today and live light. Go light with Zenith Bank. It's faster and smarter. Zenith Bank, in your best interest. NDC is not totally happy with the outcome of the first militia disbandment talks. That's the banner headline on myjoyonline.com. Doctors find 4 bees living in woman's eye and feeding on her tears. Wow. Yeah, it's happened in Taiwan. And you want to read that on myjoyonline.com. In the central region, fishermen are outraged by the color and poor quality of premix fuel. Reports from Elmina. The adumonline.com has that story we brought earlier of Rollins rejecting Ekufado's offer for the renaming of UDS. You need money to shine in the music industry, not God's anointing. Oh, Anita Free. Forsaking God's anointing like that. Really? Ekufado launches $1.5 billion Sino-Hydro Roads projects today. That has really been contended by the minority. They are demanding the value for money audit.
Yes, they say that without that, I mean, and because they think some of the projects are inflated. Yeah.
But you know, okay, Malik, you've been doing, you guys have been doing this thing for years. Isn't it interesting that nearly a year after the ratification of that deal by Parliament, we're still not seeing the value for money audit?
And we spoke to Gapo spoke to one of the majority MPs who explained that you can't always wait to have all of these documentation done before you start the project. Otherwise, the project will never get started.
But is it not in our collective interest we are clear in our minds exactly what details are going to do with it
for us, isn't it?
Yes, so that an independent eye is telling us that this is on the right path. Okay. So you don't come back and do a commission to investigate something again.
So guys, whilst Abdulaziz Bouteflika is being kicked out of power in in Africa. Benjamin Netanyahu is going for his 5th term. He's 69 years old. And speaking of old age, the Dalai Lama, who is 83, has been taken to the hospital in India. Those are the stories on the BBC.com. We're taking these important messages. Stay with us.